Hello friends, welcome back to my channel English with Shyam sir, and I'm Shyam sir talking. I am going to explain a very beautiful article that came on the editorial column on June 16th. Okay, so I have chosen the article from the Hindu newspaper on June 16th. This is a very big article actually. The size of the article is quite big, but very honestly this is a very easy to read article. I have chosen this article today because I want you to understand that the size of the quantity of any article has nothing to do with the comprehension skills. You keep reading, you keep working, even though the articles are bigger in size, still read them. So to get that confidence, watch this video completely, because this article is very big but easy to understand. Now, before I get into the actual content of the article, like you already know, I have chosen this article where it is about, let me tell you the headlines of the article, okay? It is on the editorial column on June 16th. The headline says, in economic crisis, a window of economic opportunity, okay? In economic crisis, a window of economic opportunity. This is an article about India and Sri Lanka, number one, okay? So now let me tell you the basic essence of the article clearly, so that once you understand the essence of the article, it becomes very easy, because 95% matter in the article is all about facts and figures, which can be just read even without working hard to understand. 95% of the matter in the article is all about facts and general facts and truths, okay? So point number one, this is an article about India and Sri Lanka, number one. Number two, the whole article goes with a sense of conspiracy. You know what conspiracy is all about, or hypocrisy? So what I'll do is, before I get into the article, I'll give you a very simple example. I'm sure if this example you listen to, you will understand the whole article actually. See, there are two people, A and B. There are two people, A and B, they are neighbors, okay? There are two people, A and B, they are neighbors. So let me try to give you a very simple example like this, okay? So there are two people, A and B, like this, okay? Number one. Number two, my dear friends, or let me give you this example, A and B, okay? So, A is stronger, taller and richer. B is not as strong as A, not as tall as A, not as rich as A. Number two. Number three. Very honestly, A and B, despite the fact that they are neighbors, very the neighbors who are living in a very close proximity, very close neighbors physically, they are very close, like their houses are located very closely, but somewhere there is no very good heartfelt bondage between A and B. As they are neighbors, they say hi to each other. As they are neighbors, they try to give mutual support and respect. Publicly they try to respect each other, but somewhere personally, on a personal level, A and B very honestly don't have heartfelt emotion between them. They don't have a very cordial relationship between them. That is how the general neighbors are, correct? Am I right? Number two. Now the next point is very simple. Actually, A and B, they have been neighbors for a very long time. Like I have said, A is stronger, A is richer, and A is taller. And surprisingly, my dear friends, even in the past also, A and B had some ruptures. A and B had some minor tussles, or even there were instances when A and B had major issues also. But for the mere fact that A is very strong, A is very tall, A is very rich, B is not actually trying to directly have a conflict. Like you already know, when your neighbor is very strong, much stronger than you, you never try to go for a direct fight. Is correct? Like for example, how Russia recently has decided to go for a direct fight with Ukraine, because Russia knows that it is stronger than Ukraine in many ways. Here, Sri Lanka knows that India is. I think when I say A and B, you already know what I'm talking about. A is India, B is Sri Lanka. So Sri Lanka was always aware of the fact that India is much taller, stronger than Sri Lanka. It is trying to maintain that hypocrisy. But unfortunately or fortunately, in the past, there were many instances, many opportunities for both India and Sri Lanka actually to get rid of all gaps, to fill all the gaps and become close friends. There were many opportunities in the past when India and Sri Lanka actually could have got closer, become very good friends and start developing the actual cordial bondage. But they didn't utilize it in the past. Now also there are many beautiful opportunities where India and Sri Lanka can actually come much closer. So the whole paragraph is talking about this simple point where in the past there were many opportunities, in the present also there are many opportunities where India and Sri Lanka can develop their ties. So this is the whole essence of the paragraph, my dear friends. So now let me come to the paragraph where actually the story started with Sri Lankan Prime Minister. Sri Lankan Prime Minister recently said, we want to develop bondage with India. It is natural, it is obvious because you know the situation in Sri Lanka is horrible. So naturally the headline says in economic crisis. So now this B is in a big problem, so it needs the support of A, correct? You understand? Generally see A and B are neighbors and now A is already, B is in a serious problem. So B naturally tries to seek the support of A. And of course A is now definitely wanting to help B, correct? So recently Sri Lankan Prime Minister said, I want to develop bondages with India. So actually the whole paragraph talks about a term called regional integration. So this Sri Lankan Prime Minister openly announced that, not only now, in the past also, there are many areas closer to Sri Lanka in South India, correct? So he says, why can't we make like a group? Why can't the South Indian states, some South Indian states and Sri Lanka, see, you know, why can't some South Indian states and some Sri Lanka very close, right? Why can't we all form it into, why can't we all form a beautiful alliance kind of thing and develop various business activities? This is what he has come forward with. Now you can ask me, Shyam sir, it's a good idea sir, why can't India go ahead? Arey bhaiya, India has always been ready. But when it comes to Sri Lanka, like I have said, there is a little bit of hypocrisy. So now the whole article 95% facts, I have said no. Those 95% facts are the facts which are trying to prove that India is ready but Sri Lanka is not ready. Okay, clear? India is ready. India is always ready to give shake hand, to bury the hatchet if any, and become very close friend to Sri Lanka. Personally, not with hypocrisy. But Sri Lanka is not ready, and that is what the paragraph is trying to prove. Now you can ask me, sir, how can the paragraph say? What are the facts mentioned in the paragraph that are trying to prove that Sri Lanka is not ready? I am not going to read out all the facts because 95% of the paragraph has the facts one by one. I will just try to read out, share with you briefly some facts. Like for example, in the year 2019, Sri Lanka had a tri-party agreement with India and Japan. But that agreement Sri Lanka scrapped in 2021. Why? Actually, that was a very good agreement because that agreement was actually done for the development of Colombo East container. So that was a good business agreement happened, but Sri Lanka didn't do it. Why? Number two, there are many other projects that came one after the other, but Sri Lanka actually didn't speed up the process from its side. Like for example, there was a proposal about West Container Terminal, and then there is a proposal to do some good infrastructure business programs in the area where Trincomalee oil tank farm. And also, my dear friends, there was earlier a beautiful business proposal between NTPC of India and Ceylon Electricity Board, but that didn't take off. That was a good business proposal. Despite that, the proposal got environmental clearance certificate, the proposal didn't take off. Why? And also, my dear friends, there is a harbor called Kanke Santurai harbor. What happened to that proposal? There is also something called Palali airport expansion in Jaffna. What is that status, my dear friends? There are many big companies in India, big brands in India, which have its branches all over the world except Sri Lanka. Why? Like, for example, there are many textile brands in India which have worldwide business happening, but not in Sri Lanka only. Why? And my dear friends, there is a sea bridge proposal to be constructed that will connect Rameshwaram to Talaimanar, but that didn't take off. That didn't start at all. Why? And if I have to read the points like this, there are around 30-40 points. Like I have said, 95% of the paragraph is all about the points one by one to prove a reader that India has always been ready to give shake hand to Sri Lanka, but Sri Lanka is not ready. Is it not ready? Even the paragraph didn't say completely yes, but it's a hypothetical question. Why is Sri Lanka not coming forward? So that is why now the headline says, in economic crisis, a window of economic opportunity. So now that, like in English and Telugu also, there is a saying where when problems come, the actual relations are found, correct? That's how now the problem is with Sri Lanka. The problem is in Sri Lanka. It is the right opportunity for Sri Lanka to bury the hatchet and completely start building a wonderful association with India. If that happens, India is always ready. Now you can ask me, sir, what about India's stance? You have very clearly explained the stance of Sri Lanka. What about India's stance? India has always been ready because India believes in a strong policy called neighborhood first policy. According to this policy, India is always ready. Of course, in the paragraph, there was one line that was mentioned where after 1983, there was a program you all know called, there was a incident you all know called anti-Tamil program. When that happened, India definitely actually supported Tamil rebels. Obvious, there is no doubt, India would always support Indians. So that might hurt Sri Lankans for some extent, but still it is obvious. So like that, India believes in neighborhood policy. Of course, we respect neighbors. It doesn't mean we don't support our own people. We definitely support our own people. That is first. That is obvious for any country. But yes, India believes in neighborhood first policy. So like this, even you talk about the recent COVID pandemic, I don't want to mention the figures. There are many figures mentioned in the paragraph where how how actually India supported Sri Lanka. Surprisingly, not only the central government of India supported Sri Lanka, Tamil Nadu supported Sri Lanka. If you look at one of my earlier videos in Shyam Sir Cognizance channel, that was where I explained very clearly in 2-3 videos in Telugu. Of course, the explanation happened in Telugu. How Sri Lanka supported, how Tamil Nadu supported Sri Lanka. What are the funds given to Sri Lanka? What are the loans given to Sri Lanka and all that. So this is a beautiful article, easy to understand. Sorry. So now that Sri Lanka is in economic crisis, there is a good opportunity for Sri Lanka to bury the hatchet and develop this beautiful, there is something called Park Strait, correct? Park Strait. So let's hope that good things will happen in the near future. No conspiracy should happen. Keep hypocrisy aside. World is one, and world is small, world is round, and world is one. Not only Sri Lanka and India, let's hope all the countries would come together, work together, irrespective of caste, creed, religion, region, all that. Humanity and saving the earth nature is definitely the final goal. It should be the final goal. This is a beautiful article. I thoroughly enjoyed reading, my dear friends. Very surprisingly, this article has nothing to do with English because there are no good vocabulary mentioned. There are no idioms mentioned. The language used in the article is simple, easy to understand. But I want you to read it. And my dear friends, my request before I end the video is, I'm putting a lot of efforts to read the article, analyze it and explain it in 10-15 minutes in a nutshell manner for you, because my agenda is simple. I want you to read articles and develop the ability to understand. Comprehension abilities develop only when you and I work together. So my simple request is, in this, for this video also, the article which I have explained, I will share that soft copy of the article on our Telegram channel. Read the article, and after you, if at all you read the article consent, message that, and that makes me happy. Sir, I have read the article, sir. One little message will really motivate me to work harder and harder. One line about this article: India is ready. Is Sri Lanka ready? That's the whole article. Good luck and all the best.